starting with the main event. Let's talk about Motsinger and Shelton sales. You know, I wrote in the article, when they walk into that cage, they'll be setting off some sparks. I mean, they come from the Fight Lab lineage. They've been champions. I think Sales was in the 145 division, and definitely Motsinger was in the 55 division. And this fight has some intrigue about it because of the time factor. We haven't seen Shelton in the cage in quite some time. We know he's been keeping himself sharp. He's become a black belt in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. He's been coaching. And the last show, one of the guys walked by me and was like, when Shelton's team went undefeated that night, and the guy was like, Shelton's thinking about getting back into this. Man, I got goosebumps then. I was excited, and I was like, man, what would be the possibilities? I didn't have in mind who an opponent would be at the time, because originally Motsinger was supposed to take on Titus Moore for this fight, so it was kind of shocking, surprising, but in a good way. When I found out it was Shelton as a replacement, I was like, yeah, that makes sense. That makes sense. Shelton's had more competitive fights, in my opinion, in terms of the quality of the competition, their records, what his competition has been able to do in terms of championship opportunities, who they fought, their skill sets. So even with the time off, you still have to give Shelton, some consideration for coming out on top in this fight. So one of the things I did before I wrote this article, I utilized the tools that everyone pretty much is afraid of. I went to AI. And I said, Mr. AI machine. And I plugged in all the data. I plugged in all the information. And I went to 3 forms of AI. ChatGPT, Pi AI, and Claude. And I plugged in all the information about, who they fought, how much time was given away, the weight, when's the last time Motsinger had been in this weight class, what was at stake in terms of this being a pro fight, the experience. I plugged in all that data. And I asked it, all 3 modules, I asked at one time, what chance does Shelton Sales have for winning this fight? And with all the data considered, they all came back and gave me roughly an average of 60%. 60% chance that he can win this fight. Now, I know some people had criticism about what I wrote, but here's what you don't understand, is that the most guarantee that you can have in a fight is about 87%. You understand what I'm saying? So there's still a huge amount of wiggle room. That means that other 40% can swing and be in favor of Motsinger just like that. And Shelton can be demolished. So there's not a guarantee that Shelton wins the fight just because AI said it. What happens is that it's a strong chance, and Shelton's got to get in there and find those other avenues. Like, he's got to get ahead on points. He's got to score an average of 2 takedowns a round. He's got to keep Motsinger on his back leg so he can't come forward. There's still a whole host of things that he has to do to get that other 27% in his favor. So most fights are usually decided, especially if they go the distance, by that 87% swing. You've got to shut your opponent out if you want a unanimous decision. When the numbers start coming down to where 75%, 60%, you're going to get something close to a split decision. All right, so yes, by activity, Motsinger is in the stronger position. There's no doubt about that. But if he doesn't do everything he knows to do based on being the active fighter, he's going to put himself in jeopardy, and that's where Shelton is going to be able to step in and possibly snatch a win. So that's how I was able to come up with what I wrote based on who each man is. We just, as my coach used to say, man, You got to fight these damn fights. So we have to see how it plays out. We have to see how it plays out.